Hello again, folks. In the final chapter of Candy's last day with a home, we're gonna go over the meeting she agreed to near the end of part 1. Buckle up, you're about to get a lesson into the best possible ways to completely screw up any chance of winning sympathy with normal people.
And so the meeting was pointless if you had your mind made up to believe nothing I say. What was the point of the meeting if you had no intentions on taking anything I had to say in consideration? You had your mind made up to make it like as if
Maggie
is the true victim here. And she wasn't the only one perping. I know the truth and y'all not gonna gaslight me. She was one of the perp neighbors. Excuse me. So she lied and said that she lied on me and said that
You bothered her?
I meant to say, she was trying to lie and say that I was standing by the front. That I walked on her property. Well, she was close enough that I didn't need to. She was right next door, so I asked her from my side. She lied on me and said that I approached her 3 times, but I only directly told her something twice.
That day. Twice that day.
But I knew she was an evil perp. So after they asked, if anybody which one of us wanted to go first, but then she tried to pretend to be fake generous and say she wanted to let me go first. But I'm like, nah, I want to see how many lies you're going to tell.
Anyone else remember how Candy complained about being forced to go last when it was time to talk to the police?
But then, me trying to tell the truth, I had to wait until last to get to say, what I needed to say. So, I let her go first. One of the first things she said was, because at first, remember she was lying and saying, oh, well, she called me a gangbanger and whatever. But she even threw up 666 hand signs and devil horns on Monday.
No, she didn't.
Yesterday she had her son perping with red shorts. But the boy was a little baby, so he didn't know what was going on. And he had on red shorts and the other kid had on white shirt and blue shorts. The first time I exposed her. So they had on those exact same clothes. And she had excuse me. So then, one of the first things she actually said was, she called me a gang stalker.
You did, though.
And then the room got real quiet. And then they're like, oh, what is a gang stalker? And then they're all, all the staff, or all 6 of them up in there. Was it 5 or 6 people? I don't remember. They were all, I don't remember if it was 5 or 6 of the staff members up in there. At least 2 or 3 of them were really, no, I think it was 5 people.
5 or 6? Where have we heard that before?
Did he fire 6 shots or only 5? Well, to tell you the truth, in all this excitement, I've kind of lost track myself.
Dirty Candy.
Miss
Penny.
And 2 other ladies, they were really quiet while Miss
Super Dude
did some talking. But
Kitty
it had the narcissistic, fake, biggest mouth with a shady, dirty ass. So, oh, she called me a gang stalker. So
You did call her a gang stalker.
when Miss
Kitty
tried to ask, well, do any of y'all know what a gang stalker is? And and then they're like, oh no, we never heard of such thing. We don't even know. Not. Excuse me. And so
Maggie
started getting all fake dramatic and all fake emotional. But she didn't mention Monday about her lose. I don't recall. Maybe she did, but I don't remember her mentioning about losing her brother on Monday. I do remember saying something about her nephew was abused or something like that. So she just started acting off and showing out and making a big scene and everything. Nobody called her mental. So when she said that she lost her brother back in May, Well, guess what? I had no sympathy from anybody when I lost my biological parents, both of them back to back. So she tried to make it like, oh well, I lost my brother, back in May or something. And she said that I think she was trying to say that her brother died, that her brother was murdered due to gang violence or whatever.
Here we have Candy's first major failure. If Maggie's brother was indeed taken as a result of gang violence, it would certainly explain why being called a gang member could set her off so much. Candy is slow, she really is. She truly believes that being a gang stalker does not mean being a gang member. She doesn't even understand how people could even think that, despite the word gang being part of the term. This is excellent proof of narcissistic behavior on her part. She can only think about how she feels, and to hell with anyone else's emotions or tragedies. What does a dead brother have to do with her body vibrating? That's her only thought.
But the gang stalking is different. I explained that it was kind of like a misnomer or something, because it's an organized group of, government terms watching this, So they kept on narcissistically demanding an answer for this and that. And I'm like, I should have stood my ground with refusing to answer more, with refusing to answer questions, because they're definitely, trying to, use the video, weaponize the video against me.
Wrong again, Kendo. Most people have actually never heard the term gang stalking before, so naturally they'll want to know what the hell it's supposed to mean. Candy complains, even to this day, about how much she hates explaining it. She always tells people to look it up on the internet when they ask her, which doesn't help her very much. You see, by referring people online during an in-person discussion, it calls into question whether or not she truly knows what it means, which undermines her credibility quite a bit.
And so, basically, when she said she lost her brother, I was already upset, so, and then that other female had threatened me, and I'm like, knowing the fact that one of my subscribers said that, oh, she seemed like she got cult vibes or something, and then she confirmed that with the doggone witchcraft that she did on Monday, and so she had, so, I said, yeah, because your blood, so how they know what blood sacrifice is? I said, yeah, because you blood sacrifice, and that's why. You're a witch who, an initiated witch who blood sacrificed your own brother.
You heard her correctly. She just said she told Maggie at the meeting that she sacrificed her own brother for witchcraft. We're gonna go out on a limb here and say this was the exact moment she lost any hope of finding sympathy. Imagine that. We picture the whole room getting silent in one of those, did this bitch just say what I think she said kind of moments.
And so she got mad, and they made it like I was being so disrespectful. And they gave her permission to excuse herself from the room. And so they made it like as if me saying stuff like that I'm the antagonizing bully that deserved to get killed. But you sitting here like she even said in the meeting, she mentioned about, oh yeah, because she was telling a whole bunch of narcissistic fake lies on me to make me sound like trying to make things look like as if I sound like trying to make me seem like as if I'm really, really crazy. So then she tried to make like as if she claimed that she didn't know me, but then she talking about, oh, I can tell I know something is very, very wrong with her. And then she started to try to pretend to play like a victim or play like, and then she's like, oh, I'm far from a victim. I'm whatever. Well, you're pretending to fake like you're being victimized.
Yeah, she didn't let you victimize her.
Like, so she tried to make like, even Monday she tried to make like I was the one picking on and harassing her.
You were.
When Monday, I told y'all that Monday, she strategically waited until I was on the phone with the the Social Security ticket to work guy. That's when she started with the blasting the loud music. So right at like when I'm trying to move in life and accomplish things and trying to have some goals, trying to accomplish goals, and right on the proper timing, because I knew I heard some noise while I was on the phone with him. The second time, because the first time he had to take another call or something like that, and then after the second time, it was like I knew I heard some noise. So she strategically waited until I was on the phone with the important call to try to get ticket to work and try to get a job, and that's when she started doing that. That's how I knew that shit was on purpose, and that's why I walked outside. I did not go over on her side. I was on my side, and y'all saw that I accidentally dropped the phone, and I nearly fell off those steps too. But the other day, though, was this Saturday or before? I don't remember what day it was. If it wasn't this past Saturday, it was probably the Saturday before. But she performed a witchcraft spell on me to cause me to fall twice.
Yet you still decided to harass her? Not bright, Candy.
When I try to expose her noise harassment. So
you antagonize what you think are users of actual magic.
So yeah, she did into some wicked shit, very wicked, and then she pretended to be innocent and try to lie and say that everybody else ain't going. Like you're the meanest person in the fucking in the complex, and then you sit there and talk about I would have been the number one person to be nicest to you. Everybody else ain't gonna be nice to me. Everybody else ain't gonna be nice like me. I'll be the nicest person to you, and everybody else will treat you mean, and I'll be the number one to help. I would be the number one to help you, and then talking to me and treating me like as if I'm very, very elementary and slow and rich.
You are slow, Candy. You're telling us all how you screwed up at the meeting while you think you're painting a sympathetic picture.
She also lied and said that she's a woman of God, or that she trying to better her life and trying to do the right thing. And they all huddled together and talked about how that they never had a problem out of no complaints about her, or that she was always a good tenant and stuff like that. Well, how the hell is she able to have like at least a minimum of 4 kids in a 1-bedroom though? I thought that wasn't allowed in housing like that,
Maybe she's babysitting?
But I think she'd be smoking weed too, because I thought I'd be smelling the weed from both sides. So now Miss
Kitty
kept on saying, what is a gang stalker, and kept demanding an answer. And then I encouraged her to go look online on the internet what it is, and she said, I am not going to go look online, or I'm not going to research the internet. And I said, well, what is the point of you asking then?
To see if you knew what it meant.
When I tried to explain, she didn't want to hear no explanation.
You didn't want to explain.
And so then she was like throwing up like devil horns. I didn't see the 666, but she kept on throwing up devil horns, Miss
Kitty.
And I said, see you a perp, because I said you throwing up, devil horns, hand signs, and before I could get my words out,
Kitty
and all of them, they all were like, oh yeah, so they're like, oh yeah, see, look at her accusing us of being part of this or whatever. And I mentioned about, being abused in foster care and put in the cult by the foster. I think I did. Maybe I didn't. But so I mentioned about the foster mom putting me in the gang stalking program and all that. So they all try to play it off and pretend like they never heard of it or like they know nothing about it. But you throwing up your hand signs like, bitch, you showing like allegiance or to you flaunting off through your hand signals with the pledging, like, you're advertising your allegiance to the dark side.
We do have to admit, calling one of the board members part of the dark side sounds kind of cool if you're into Star Wars. However, at a meeting over whether or not you're a problem to the community, it's a very stupid thing to do.
So,
Kitty.
when I call her out on being a perp, a gang stalker, you throwing up satanic hand signs, and then she tried to make it like I'm nuts or whatever, and then she started to say, oh, I just talk with my hands. Yeah, when I busted my twin sister, she also made that same lie. Oh, I just talk with my hands. When I see you throwing up some intentional satanic hand signs, but they move so fast, they be trying to be slick with it.
Maybe next you should call her children the spawn of Satan?
Or piss on her carpet.
So basically, throughout the meeting, Miss
Kitty.
kept on repeatedly asking me about what is a gang stalker or whatever. And then, excuse me, but then she kept on telling me that she refuses to go look it up online. And I'm like, well, why do you keep asking? And then she tried to make like as if the conversation is not that they're not getting anywhere with the conversation, or like basically that they're not accomplishing anything with the conversation with me, because I kept on, and that's why they had that meeting while they hypocritically recorded it, but then telling me I couldn't bring my phone in.
You're an idiot.
So ever since I mentioned about me in a witchcraft, now my right hand is uncontrollably shaking.
She would have fit right in during old school witch hunts.
So Miss
Kitty.
kept on lecturing me and trying to make like I need to learn how to be a good tenant or be neighborly and this and that, whatever. Miss
Behave.
pretty much one of the quiet ones, during the meeting. But Miss
Mary Jane.
was not in the meeting. I don't even know if Miss
Mary
was
Jane.
at the location, at the building, and handling some other business, but she was not inside of the meeting. But on the phone Monday, I told y'all the shady stuff that Miss
Mary Jane.
she did, like threaten to evict me and all that, and lectured me about breaking the rules and stuff. Like all the rules that they freaking break, they do what the hell they want. How So, I wasn't even sure that if you expose I never heard of it with other targeted individuals, that if you expose your neighbor's gang stalking you, then you can get evicted.
If you bother them...
So, yeah,
Mary Jane.
threatened to evict me over the phone on Monday. And then they called a meeting, and she said that was what the meeting was supposed to be for.
Mary
It was not
Jane.
even there at the meeting. So, but... Miss
Kitty.
try to make like as if
Maggie.
is the victim, and like as if whatever she does to me that I deserve it, or that I'm the one who's. And she kept on falsely accusing me. They all, I meant to say Miss
Kitty.
and
Maggie.
herself. Them two, they kept falsely accusing me of antagonizing and provoking and harassing
Maggie.
when it was actually the other way around, because she's a perp. That's what the perps do.
Forget about that whole sacrificing her brother thing, right?
I'm sticking to the truth, and I'm sticking to my story, and I'm not going to let them gaslight or anybody gaslight or manipulate me to think something different.
And that's why you're mentally ill. Well, part of it. You're clearly delusional. Seriously, you blamed a power outage on witchcraft by the neighbor.
So they try to make like as if, and they try to talk to me and lecture me, very elementary, or like I'm really, really slow. And
Maggie.
he lied on me and said that all day, every day, I just stand outside hunting and looking for who might be making noise. And so at one point, you know, when they try to ask me about, of course, in that fake ass Mr.
Super dude.
try to question me about my mental health and narcissistically demand an answer for what my diagnosis is and trying to suggest that I go to Lakeview. I'm like, don't you dare. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. And I knew that they were going to do that because they're all perps and they're all narcissistic.
Nope. Candy, you're basing your whole argument on your hypersensitivity to noise, and you probably tried to play off calling the meeting members perps by blaming Tourette's, as you always do. Mr. Super Dude simply wanted to know if you really had a diagnosis of hypersensitivity, or if perhaps there were other issues the community needed to be aware of. You don't get to call folks narcissists for asking about your mental health, not when you're calling them witches, perps, and conspirators. Anyway, they ended up letting Candy just walk away. No mark on her credit, no other repercussions except making her leave. So she did. Rather than paying rent, she went to a hotel and then on to New Orleans, where she lives unhappily ever after to this very day.